Hi everyone, welcome back to the Social Hotelier podcast with me, Sam-Erik Ruttmann. Today's guest is Rocco Bova, a globally seasoned hotelier and visionary founder of the Summit Mexicano de la Hospitalidad, Mexico's premier hospitality forum, created by hoteliers for hoteliers. With an extensive leadership background across luxury brands, including Aman, Chablais, and St. Regis, Rocco brings decades of experience in hospitality development, strategic operations, and innovative tourism ventures. As the creative force behind My Humble House, he's reshaping the industry through a luxury social enterprise mode. Currently consulting across Mexico, Rocco is an influential thought leader, passionately driven, purpose-led hospitality. So welcome, Rocco, and thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Sam. It's very humbling, when you hear your story from other people. Thank you for such a beautiful description of what I've done so far. I'm very, very proud. At the same time, very happy too. Nice to be with you again.
Likewise, Rocco. It's always a pleasure, and I've been looking forward to have this conversation because I think we have several topics that we could cover. But I think I realized that what we're going to talk about today is about maybe some three topics, and we don't get even to the humble house part of maybe touching a little bit about your initiative about the Summit Mexicano de la Hospitalidad. We can touch a little bit on that just to give a glimpse, because everybody has now are listening in, and you are very active. And we just before we started recording this episode, you mentioned that you're waking up 5 a.m. and during the first hour or between 8 and 9, you already have your first calls with either friends in the industry or you're coaching or you're advising. So I'm impressed about your diligence in this work. But maybe you could just get started a little bit about your journey in hospitality. I mean, I mentioned the brands, but how long have you been in Mexico, for instance? That would be interesting for me to know. I don't even know that.
In fact, Sam, Mexico has been kind of a place that I was hoping to visit at some point. One of my best friends actually married to a Mexican woman some 30 years back, and she was actually the one telling me, "You must go to Mexico, Rocco, you will love it." Well, 30 years later, I came to Mexico eventually, and I think I fell in love, and I've been here now for a little bit more than 8 years, and truly is a magical place. I enjoy living here. I enjoy the culture. The gastronomy, of course, is great. The history, but most of all, I think the people. Mexican people are very, very beautiful people. I feel home here. It's the first time in my career, and also living in different countries around the world, that I actually feel one of the community. I don't feel a foreigner living in a foreign country. I feel like I'm Italian, but I'm very welcome to be Italian in Mexico. So it's great to be here, and also Mexico gave me so many things. Not so much only my career, but also gave me opportunity to meet some fantastic people. So here I am, continuing my journey, to develop and help this country to continue to grow.
Wonderful. I think that I haven't had the opportunity to visit Mexico. It's obviously on a list place to visit, and we have a very limited view of Mexico. I mean, and a very, very, very limited view of the gastronomy. I mean, it's only sort of the what has come through United States that we see, particularly here in Northern Europe. So I love food. I love good food. So I think this is I must come and visit you one of these days, and you can take me out to show me a little bit around what real Mexican food is all about.
It will be a pleasure, Sam. You will be surprised, as I was, to discover the many dishes, particularly indigenous dishes. A lot of the gastronomy is actually still based on food that was eaten, hundreds of years ago. In fact, the gastronomy of Mexico is part of the UNESCO heritage, because they still, after several hundred years, they still use the same ingredient as they were using then, today. So frijol, beans, onions, corn. These are the basic ingredients of the cuisine that still today, these the basic ingredient used. So any kitchen you go, you'll always find these 4 or 5 ingredients.
Very good. So I need to ask you about this latest initiative about the Summit Mexicano de la Hospitalidad. Could you share a little bit of what, because it's quite recent that you started, so I'm very curious to see how it got started and how was the first event that you held?
It's true, Sam. You see, the past 4 years, I started to work as a consultant, as an independent consultant. And frankly speaking, I'm doing pretty well. I was even surprised that, as a first timer, you begin a new business and things work pretty well. So I'm very happy at the moment, to have changed a little bit my career. Still the same industry, but a different way of working. And so what I do, basically, I help developers, owners, or hoteliers to bring their property to the next level, particularly if they want to bring it to a luxury level. That's where I focus. And my focus is more into boutique hotels. At the same time, I was participating to many events, many conferences around Mexico. And I discovered after a couple of years that there was no forum where hoteliers can actually learn and understand what the trends are and what the solution to problems, to real life problems. And so I said to myself, maybe one day I should organize this event myself. So around a year ago, a colleague and also a friend, over a coffee, he told me, Rocco, what do you think we organize a conference? Oh my God. And so, the spark came to my eyes and I told him, listen, I've been thinking about this for 2 or 3 years. Of course, we should do it. So if you're in, I can put together a team in no time and we can start. So we started with 6 members. Okay, we started with 6 members. And, after a couple of months, we began losing some of the members. We stayed at 3 of us. So it's myself, Adolfo Tuñón, and Francisco Lugo. So we are three members of the company. And we have started this journey to launch, create first, the brand and the concept, then prepare the program, and then start to commercially sell the event. Initially, to be honest, we started like a bunch of friends doing a conference, but then very quickly became too good to just keep it as a simple conference between colleagues. So, my first invited speakers actually was Braulio Arzuaga. He's the CEO of Grupo Presidente. Nothing more than the CEO. So when you start with that as a keynote speakers, the rest of the speakers and panelists, you need to bring them to similar level. You cannot go lower than that. So, and then one carried the other one. And then we got people from Four Seasons, from One and Only, from Chablais, obviously, my ex-company. We had people from Grupo Presidente, from Grupo Posadas, which is the second most important group also in Mexico, and actually the largest hotel operator in Mexico. And and then sponsors started to call me and contact me and say, Rocco, we want to participate, we want to help you. So we had companies like Amadeus, Shiji, FCS from Singapore. We had even company from Singapore. So it became a lot more than just a simple conference. And the first event, we had 181 participants. 181. We were expecting only 120. So we nearly went 50% more than what we were expecting. We had more than 30 journalists from the region. We had Hotels Magazine also as the main press sponsor. Wow. Hotels Magazine is, the most important magazine in the world. I mean, it was just amazing. So it was very emotional, to be honest, also when we finished this event, because, it was hard work, definitely. but the result obviously were very evident. And next year we're actually doubling the number of days. From 1 day conference is going to be a 2 days conference, and we are looking at around 50 speakers over 2 days. So it's going to be quite intense. Also, talking, you were telling me about your conference in Germany. It's probably going to be similar to that next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's very intensive. I mean, I have never organized such an event, but I just been part of them. And this particular event in Berlin last week, I saw the team. There must have been some 25 people in their organization, how they do it. And I can imagine if you're starting us with a few friends together, putting a event for hoteliers, by hoteliers, that's one thing. But now you're elevating it to a 2-day event, and there's a lot of details that goes into the logistics to make everything work. So I mean, bravo! I mean, congratulations that you had a good start, and now you're ready for moving it to the next level.
Absolutely, we're definitely working on this already now, and we're putting together an incredible program. We are bringing very interesting people as a speaker or panelist. So I'm very, very excited. Also, just for me to get in touch with certain people is already bring joy, and excitement to see what is gonna be the next event.
Very good. So let's touch a little bit on the kind of topics that we were thinking about discussing today, and one of the things is the education, hospitality education, and the hotel schools. I think we both have gone through you have gone through this the formal education in hospitality, so have I. And if I look back to my education, what I remember from taking back that, I remember I have a diploma, but actually I had to learn everything else after I graduated. It was only just a certification that, okay, Sam-Erik has graduated from this and this college, and that gave me the opportunity to find a job. But, the 4-year program, and considering how the industry has changed dramatically from the analog era to digital, and now we have artificial intelligence or intelligence assistance or whatever you want to call it, it has gone such a long way, and also the jobs have changed. So has the hotel schools, are they up to date with what's going on? Are they preparing the students for the real life?
It's actually great that you asked me this question, Sam. So I was probably not like you, that I had to go through a 4 years school program. What I did in my career, in my early career, I actually would start working. So I had the experience, but I missed this piece of paper, the piece of diploma that you need, to hang on the wall. But definitely is gonna be necessary for you to get a job after, because people will ask you, okay, which school did you attend? And then you must have an answer. So I was lucky that in the mid 90s, when I was in London, at the time called the HCIMA, today is called the Institute of Hospitality, created a course which was only 10, 11 months. So started in September and finished in June. And it was perfect for me because actually it was a Monday to Friday, full immersion, 8 hours a day from 9 o'clock to 5 p.m., Monday to Friday, and over these 10, 11 months, which allowed me to actually get a diploma in hospitality management and covered basically the most important topic, from food and beverage to room division to housekeeping to finance, etc., etc. So having the experience and being able to study at the same time for me was great, because I already knew what the teacher was going to talk about. For me, it made a lot of sense. But what made more sense, one, it was obviously shorter in time, and second, I had actually time to work over the weekend so I can make some money to pay my rent. At the time, I was engaged with my today's wife, so we were girlfriend and boyfriend. So she also supported me also financially to be able to to get through. So I was paying the rent, she was paying for the food, and everything worked out. Actually, in the same year that I graduated, also I got married. And from there, I started my first job as a restaurant manager at the Jumeirah Beach Hotel. All this to tell you that for me it was fantastic to be able to study only 1 year and to get everything so concentrated, but also already have some experience. What I see today is what I have been seeing for the past 20, 30 years that I've been working in this industry. So the same hotel schools that you go, Switzerland, Europe, United States, even Mexico per se, Asia and so on and so forth, they all provide the same 4 years program with 1 year internship. So you still need to study for 3 years, plus you need to do 2 semesters of internship somewhere in the world. But you still need to get stuck 4 years. I mean, how difficult is to learn hospitality, really? We both know that our industry is not rocket science. It's very much hands-on learning, and it's very much about passion, or vocation. So you need to be vocated to actually work in the industry, to be service-oriented, but also be, wise and smart and understanding how to run a business. You don't need 4 years to learn all that, to be honest. But the most, I don't know if I can use this word, but I'm going to use it anyway, appalling situation is that the majority, if not all of the teachers that teach in those schools, they actually have no recent experience in hotels. So how can a teacher, being already in his late 30s, early 40s, or maybe 50s, or maybe 60s, that had as a last experience maybe 10 or 15 years back, what can they teach to a young student, 20 or 21 years old? Whatever can they teach, the student can find online, basically. And so my request to whoever is listening, whether it's the director or CEO of a hotel school, hospitality school around the world, is that you should get your teacher every year, at least 1 or 2 months internship, so that they understand what's really going on in the world of hospitality, hands-on, not reading through books or magazine or online, because this can be done by a student very easily. You don't need to pay maybe up to $100,000 for a 4 years course, plus accommodation and plus other dues, to learn all this. That's what is missing, I think, in my opinion. 1, review completely the program. 2, get the teacher back to work, so that actually they understand what's going on in real life today. And I give you a last example. I'm sorry if I'm taking over the space, but today I've already been 3 years out of work. Only 3 years. I already feel it's not the same for me to be a consultant and being out of work. Although I work closely with the operational team, I'm not personally involved in the operation. So observing and actually being involved are 2 very different things.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I cannot speak for what the teachers are like, or I don't have the experience of how it is to be a student. But it's so true that a lot of the things that students can get they can get things online, and they are everything is available online. But I'm just curious what can be done better to prepare the student for the industry. One side is the teacher themselves, that they are updated themselves in the best possible way that they are, because the industry is not rocket science, as you said, but a lot of things are moving very quickly in a way that how the technology is advancing in for hospitality, which was considered to be always the last one to progress. But now there's a lot of opportunities to develop, and then the efficiency factor that all these hotels are looking at, that even on luxury level, let's not even talk about economy and budget, where you have to you're keeping really a minimum staff, and then you are using technology to do part of the things. Always the question is that should be technology left in the back of the house to support areas, and then the human in the front. But I found, for instance, and then I have to also give my 5 cents. And I apologize to the hotel that I stayed in. But I have to say that I was very disappointed that I needed some service when I was in the room, and I called, press this button for quick service. I called, and I get a bot answering me. And then you have to give a keyword so the bot will respond to understand what they're going to do. And in this case, it was that I needed something, and I never got an answer, I never got a help, or they never directed to a human. So I ended up having to take the elevator down to reception to solve my problem. And I thought that would be unacceptable when you are an international branded hotel company that has and you have tens of thousands of hotel rooms in the world. So there's an advancement, but there's something that doesn't click when you cannot combine both things together. So I was very surprised, and that's where I'm always interested to see what needs to be done to get for the student the best possible start, whether they have a chance to do some intensive internships in the areas of what they need to do. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Sam, I think there are the situation is pushing us to go towards artificial intelligence and technology. I mean, it's just a fact. I get it. Everything is pushing us towards this way. So it's kind of it's not a trend. It's not a trend. It's that the situation is pushing us. We need to go there. And so everyone is saying, no, everyone is going there. No, not everyone is going there. But the world is pushing us towards this direction, okay? So believe it or not, I'm still not using any AI until today. The only AI I use, and I've been using this for 30 years, is Google. That's the only artificial intelligence. I have no other application to search for information, to think for me, to decide for me, or to tell me what to do. I use my brain. And there are one more thing that I want to tell you about, the past summit, for example. Sunday, I took 2 or 3 hours of my time, which is not even a lot of time. But what I did, I wrote almost 200 personal email to all the attendees and all the sponsors and all the speakers. Almost 200 emails personally sent one by one. I didn't use a CRM. I didn't use a bot. I did it personally myself because I thought that this is a conference for human beings. I love technology, and today we are talking through technology, okay? But I think we need to find a balance between what technology can do for us and what we need to do to continue the evolution of the human species. I think that we are giving too much away to technology to resolve this problem. I'm concerned about the consequences that this technology in particular can do to the human evolution. Because imagine, today we depend so much on technology and on internet, that the day there's no internet, we freeze. We don't do anything. We stop working, we stop living. We go to a restaurant, to a hotel, the first thing we ask is, give me the keywords for the internet.
Yes.
We don't even ask where's the toilet, where is no, we ask for the Wi-Fi, first thing. I mean, it's scary. So imagine if we start depending on artificial intelligence more and more. What happens if there is no more artificial intelligence and we stop using our own brain to actually make a decision, to solve a problem? The problem you had to, the artificial intelligence, the bot that answered your phone call was not able to solve your problem. So what do we do? I got locked into my room. What do we do? The bot cannot solve the problem. We need a human being to solve this problem, not a bot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I mean, we talked about the sort of the education and the hotel school and so on, but I think also one thing that has changed, which I realized that when we had the COVID or the epidemic a few years ago, and it also affected many hotels that they have to speed up the in terms of what they can offer the guest. Suddenly you had guests that don't want to meet anyone at the front desk. You have always sanitizing bottles around the lobby, and they want to have all the keyless check-in and have a do the booking, keyless check-in, and access to the room, and without seeing anybody, or they're wearing a mask, but they don't want to see anybody. You just want to go to the room, and so they feel that they are not going to catch the bug for this flu. But then the technology, after the flu is over, the technology remains. And now we have a number of people who are wondering whether is this worthwhile for me to meet a person at all, or they actually really want to see a person. Do you see that technology that evolved as a result and implemented during the pandemic now is going to stay on, and you still have people who just want to get onto the room and don't want to have, and only if they have a problem they want to meet a person, or a hotel has, in the worst case scenario, they have a WhatsApp group for the hotel guests where they can send a problem. You see that human context, I'm really worried about that it's kind of getting limited, and also partly it's that the guest is demanding it, but also that hotels are taking advantage to reduce the staff for the hotels.
Sam, there will be certain countries that for financial reasons, obviously, they will need to go with technology, because employing 3 or 4 people per shift is just too expensive. There will be some places that, whether we like it or not, the technology is going to go forcefully into place. Other countries, thankfully, I guess Mexico is one of those countries. I think still we are in this intermediate, transitional period. Okay, I don't believe that this is going to be so soon, but eventually it will affect Mexico or even other country where payroll maybe is not as expensive as Europe, or North America, or more developed countries. There are definitely certain places where this is already happening. For example, the trend of not cooking and not eating at home is like the new style. So people go out. All the restaurants, for example, here where I live, for breakfast are full, full of people. So people don't cook breakfast anymore. People order food via, whatever, Uber Eats or Didi or whatever other technology that is existent in that country. People don't cook anymore. I'm very lucky to actually have a wife that still cook every day, so I cannot complain. But it's sad to see this transition of food delivery and having this less mechanical, manual lifestyle. I think that we're losing this a little bit, and this eventually will continue. This is not going to stop. I don't believe so, at least.
Yeah. The recruitment process in hospitality is a very interesting subject of whether you have an AI that screens everything and do all the heavy lifting, or you have some other people. What have you observed now, how the recruitment process is going on in certain hotels, and what should they do about this if you're not agreeing in?
Wow, Sam, actually this was one of the very topic of the past summit. And, sometimes even if I'm not looking actively for a job, sometimes I just apply for a job just to see how the technology works. Okay. In most cases, like 98% of the cases, you get an automatic response from the CRM or applicant tracking system that manage your application. So, dear applicant, I like a very generic, dear applicant, thank you very much for applying for the job, blah, blah, blah. We will be in touch with you. Should you be shortlisted? So if you're not shortlisted, no one is gonna tell you anything. So you have no idea why you were not shortlisted. You will never know if your CV was adequate or your experience was adequate. So you're gonna stay in the limbo. And so in even not so long ago. I mean, I'm talking about some 10 years ago. In some hotels that I worked personally, the short list. While applicant tracking system was already available, so the applicant tracking system shortlist a curriculum, not knowing if the curriculum actually is the best curriculum, because what does a machine understand about the profile of a person just because of a piece of paper? Anyway, so that's the first already huge mistake. The second part is that, okay, so the CV shortlisted by the applicant tracking system goes onto the desk of someone. Normally, the HR manager, But what the HR manager will do, will delegate this to a more junior person. And in some cases, this happened to me already in more than one property. This junior person is actually a student. So imagine an intern having to shortlist maybe a chef, maybe a director of food and beverage, maybe a restaurant manager, or maybe even a general manager. So can you believe that the applicant tracking system is making the choice of who is the best applicant? Then the HR manager or director delegate this task, which we still don't know if it's the best of the shortlisting, will delegate this task to a more junior person. And if you're lucky, it goes into the hand of an HR executive. If you're not lucky, it will go onto the hands of an intern. So, and that was 10 years ago. Today, I don't think this has changed, because I do recruitment also for some hotels in some occasion, and I see who do I interact with normally. And also I see, because I apply myself, so I also see how applicants are handled. Actually the most recent one, which was like last week, it was an interesting, it's an international company. They're opening a new hotel in Mexico. And so I said, okay, let me see again. This one, I have to say, was a little bit smarter. So I need to investigate which applicant tracking system they use, because this was a lot smarter. Although I was not shortlisted as a candidate, it doesn't matter. But the answer prepared was a lot better than many other answers that I've seen from other international companies. So I will investigate what applicant tracking system they use. That was pretty good, I have to say.
But it also begs the question: how should the traditional human resources structure, how human resources should be structured in hotels to ensure that you align with this evolvement of recruitment needs? That what kind of levels are interviewing or discussing with the potential candidates? Because I've had a similar situation where I was contacted by someone, because we are both on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, you frequently get contacted, and you can and then I have nothing against anybody being a junior or not, but the questions that came up were a little bit strange, in the sense that I wasn't really sure I was talking to somebody who was aligned with the job requirements even. So I'm just wondering your thoughts. What would be the ideal, considering that we're living in 2025, and what would be the ideal way how recruitment should be handled?
It's true, Sam. You see that the issue today, 2025, is that we have so many platforms, so much content, so many ways to search for a job, that is definitely impossible for any human to go through hundreds of applicants for one position. It is true. At the end of the day, we need to be realistic. What is not working is actually the workload that an HR director has on top of recruitment. That's the main problem. If we keep looking for meeting after meeting, reports, and this and that, then if you overwhelm the person to actually do their job, definitely they cannot dilute their task and the time to give to each of the tasks. The challenge today is that we have Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and other job portals where people can apply for a job. You have also the company page or the career page and so on and so forth. So it is overwhelming for any person. And now, how can a person go through 100 or maybe more than 100 applicants? Is a challenge. I don't have a solution to that. I don't think anyone has a solution. ATS definitely is not a solution because it's clear that it's not working. And it's clear, I know personally, many competent general manager level that they're not able to find a job. It's just not happening. So applicant tracking system doesn't work. And this needs to be addressed because all the industry is struggling to find talent.
Yeah.
Not because there is no talent, because the technology that we use is not good. Simple. So there are plenty of talent, and then the good talent, what they do, you say, well, you know what? I'm going to work somewhere else. Why should I work in hospitality? If I need to apply to maybe 600 jobs to get maybe one interview, I mean, where is the logic there? And then maybe it's not the job that I want. So yeah. It really is a challenge, and also I don't know how company like Marriott, Hilton, Intercon, Accor, and all the big 5 or 7 companies globally, how can they open a hotel a day as an average? They open one hotel every day. How can you staff one hotel with 300-400 rooms average with 150, 200 people every single day around the world? It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't. Even they don't do anything. I mean, if the big company they do nothing, imagine the smaller company. What can they do? Not less, obviously. So it's gonna go haywire in the next 3 to 5 years. It's gonna go even worse because big company they keep growing and then they're not stopping their growth. Their growth strategy still is one hotel every day. That's what they want to open. Yeah. So how can they manage that? I have no idea.
That's a $1 million question for sure. But now, from the candidate point of view, we both are quite social, and we both are active on the social media. And when I meet you, we have never met physically, but we have met online many times. Correct. And so we have an idea of the kind of personal brand you represent, Rocco. And you probably have some idea about my personal brand, and we are quite comfortable with our personal brand, how we project that professionally. But what advice would you give somebody who's starting in the industry about the importance of personal branding? And also, I mean, the second question is that do you think the hospitality industry places enough importance on personal branding during the hiring process?
I'm going to answer the second question first. Because one thing I actually realized, Sam, about personal branding or employer branding in this case, what employer branding should do, they should be able to attract the talent that they need and that they want automatically, not without job posting or creating opportunity or opening a new hotel. You know what I noticed? That I have no hotel and I have no my humble house yet, but I get requests for jobs, for people to want to work with me every week. If not every day, but at least 2 or 3 times a week, I get people asking me, Rocco, I want to work with you. Why is that? What do? I don't do really much. I only try to be myself. I'm not trying to be somebody else. I think that employer branding should do exactly the same thing, should represent exactly what they are. Because what they're doing instead, they are representing what they would like to be, not what they really are. And that's where the, maybe my humble opinion, the breakdown exists. Okay, there's no alignment between what the company really is and what the company want to be. All this wonderful vision and mission statement and golden rules and call it whatever you want, values and so on. If they don't really walk the talk, the right people will never go in that company. Never. Even more now, because even younger people, younger generation, are more attracted to true value-based company. And the moment they see that this company doesn't walk the talk, they burn the bridge completely and build a wall. Not only they burn the bridge, they also build a wall just in case somebody has the brilliant idea to try to go back to. That's what I see. That's going back to the first question, okay, about building personal branding. Just be authentic, be yourself, be yourself, be coherent. Walk the talk. Be a leader that really mean what they say, and they say what they mean. So that they are really transparent, they have integrity, and they really want to do good. Because otherwise, you just become an influencer. I don't want to be an influencer, Sam. I have no intention to have 1 million followers. I want to have a lot of friends just like you that maybe we never met, but I have the respect or reciprocal respect that I know who you are, I know what you're trying to achieve, and you know what I'm trying to achieve. We have alignment.
Exactly.
I call tribe. I have my tribe of people that they trust me and I trust them.
Yes.
When I employ people, when I do recruitment, because occasionally I look for talents as well for some of my clients. And my clients, they expect me to present the 3 options. And I tell them, no, I don't present you 3 options. I'm not another recruiter like everybody else is doing and give you 3 options. I don't give you 3. I only give you 1 option. This 1 option is the 1 person you need. And so they remain shocked. They say, okay, Rocco, I will follow you. But then when I speak to the candidate, I tell them, listen, you don't need to tell me about your experience because I can see this from your curriculum. The one thing I only ask you is to make sure that what you say on your CV is really who you are.
Yeah.
Because the moment you screw up your reputation, you screw up my reputation, and you don't comply with the company that is going to give you the opportunity of your lifetime. Automatically, the person either stay on and deliver, or they tell me, Mr. Rocco, I already found another job. Which means that actually they were not the right people. And I filter like this. This is my style of interview. I don't ask them the usual question, where you work, tell me a little bit about you, what are your personal goal, and these are the typical standard questions that everyone asks today. No, my interview lasted like 10 minutes. Just deliver. Don't thank me for the job. Don't thank me to help you. Just deliver.
Very good. Yeah, I mean, the personal branding becomes very much of a issue nowadays for all of us who are on social media, different medias like platforms like LinkedIn or is it Instagram and so on. Any tips you want to give some young professionals how they should pay attention to how they are perceived on social media? Is it important in your opinion, or they should just be themselves as they are, and that's where the authenticity comes in?
They can be themselves and they can be professional at the same time. I'm talking to you now very, very frankly, this is Rocco. About 20 years ago, for example, I went for an interview for a job. And at the time I was already shaved. And so the director of this company, he asked me, hey, Rocco, what about your hairstyle? And I said, what about my hairstyle? What's wrong with this? This has always been fashionable, so I don't understand. And he said to me, well, Rocco, the company here is a bit old-fashioned. They may not accept it. And I said, okay, fine. Would you accept me for my hairstyle or for the experience that I'm going to bring and the passion for my job? Eventually, I got the job. But it was questionable, about my style. Now, to a young person that gets into professional social networking, definitely I suggest to be professional. Okay. Second, I suggest to pick topics that can inform and can teach something to other people. Whether you're going to reshare it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be your own content. You can reshare content, but definitely it needs to be something that is going to help other people grow, not just yourself. The third and the last thing that I suggest them is to grow their network, starting from day one. Not because they're still student, because I get this answer also from my kids, oh no, but still, I'm still studying. Well, even studying, you require a network of colleagues, whether it's going to be your student colleague, the same university or other university. You can start confronting each other, confronting in the positive way. You can exchange opinions and point of view. But definitely, a young person should start from the beginning to create a network that's going to help them grow in their career or grow as a person, and start immediately. Don't wait after you finish, because between now and 4 years, technology has changed, social media have changed, so many things have changed, the world has changed. So start now. Don't wait until 4 years when you finish your study.
Very good. Okay, Rocco, I have two more questions before we wrap up today's episode. One question I always like to ask my guests, even besides what we talked about, what are the other trends that you see happening in hospitality that hoteliers should take note of? What do you think they are, if you put some priority on that?
I still more and more, at least in this part of the world, I still more and more smaller hotels coming up, like mushrooms, smaller boutique hotels, 10, 15, 20 rooms. They are growing like mushrooms everywhere. So for me, it's great because that's where I thrive. I have the experience, I've got the connection, I have the network, I know the suppliers and so on and so on. So for me, it's paradise at the moment. I don't know if this trend is going to stay forever, but it's going to stay for a long time. That's a fact. So we need to be aware of that, and we need to stop building bigger hotels, with 10,000 rooms or 5,000 rooms or 3,000 rooms. We don't need that, really. Nobody, maybe there is a market for it, I'm sure, but we don't need 3,000 rooms to create a destination. We can create a destination with 40 rooms, and the clear example was actually Chablais, Yucatan, the one I was lucky to work open 8 years ago, and we created a destination in the middle of the jungle. We position Yucatan and Merida as one of the best places to go for vacation for luxury travelers. This is definitely one. The second one is technology. It's here to stay. It's coming stronger, faster than anyone can believe. So we need to be ready for that too. Whether we like it or not, I'm not very keen on technology on one side. On the other side, I love technology, but there is always a fine line or how far we need to go. But it's coming, so we need to embrace it and need to find the best way of its use.
Very good. Now, the final question is then, if people who want to reach out to you, how can they find you and how could they connect with you?
Listen, I'm quite public on LinkedIn. I do all my stuff. 90% of my time is actually on LinkedIn. That's where I spend my social time. When I do digital social media, I only do LinkedIn. I have an Instagram account, but I hardly use it. And I have a Facebook account that I only use it for, some other connection. But if you want to find me, just type Rocco Bova on LinkedIn, and generally you'll find me.
Very good, Rocco. And this episode also will be visible on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. So we'll make sure that we will spread the wonderful information that you have shared in this episode will be visible on all those platforms. So Rocco, I really want to thank you very much for this morning in Mexico, that you took the time to share your views. And I'm looking forward to keeping in touch and have another conversation with you. We'll find another topic. I really want to talk a little bit about my humble house, because that was something we never had a chance to talk about. And we have discussed it in the past, but I think it's such a wonderful concept that I think we need to spread the good word about this one of these days.
I can tell you a little tip about my humble house.
Let's do that, yes.
It is moving forward. It is moving forward. I'm actually working with, I've got the land already. It is moving forward. I'm working with a group of architects here in Mexico to design the master plan. And it's actually also evolved from being just a hotel to being a master plan community where there is also a hotel. But maybe we'll find another episode of your podcast to discuss about this. When I get also more information, I will be able maybe to show you some renderings of what it's going to look like.
We'll make it happen, Rocco, for sure, whenever you're ready.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Rocco.
It's been a pleasure, Sam. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for tuning in to the Social Hotelier. If you enjoyed this episode, then I had a wonderful discussion with Rocco Bova. Please take a moment to leave us a review, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Now, if you're listening to this as a podcast, I really appreciate if you write the review on Apple Podcast, and you need to use your mobile device for that. We have an incredible lineup of guests coming your way, so stay tuned for more thought-provoking conversations. Until next time, take care and keep exploring.